Good day, everyone. This is the presentation of our equipment design project entitled Steam Jacketed Mixer for the Synthesis of Banana Fiber-Based Self-Healing Material or SHM. This design project aims to develop equipment, specifically a mixer, to produce a homogeneous sludge of SHM for construction that aids crop propagation that poses a great challenge for civil engineers. Our country, the Philippines, is highly susceptible to various natural disasters such as typhoons, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. This is due to the fact that our country is located near the Pacific Ring of Fire. According to Asian Disaster Reduction Center, or the ADRC, our country is visited by an average of 20 typhoons every year and 799 earthquakes per year. These natural disasters occurring in the Philippines make structural buildings vulnerable to degradation and destruction. Concrete is widely used as the main material for construction here in the Philippines due to its high mechanical performance, longevity, and affordability. However, it is highly prone to cracking, especially micro cracks, which results in total loss of strength or deterioration. These factors are inevitable in the construction industry. Thus, various techniques have been explored to address this pressing issue. The discovery of self-healing materials, or SHM, is one of the innovative solutions to mitigate concrete cracking and enhance concrete's mechanical properties. Banana pseudostem fibers, as one of the most abundant agricultural waste here in the Philippines, specifically in Mindanao, offers significant engineering properties or benefits due to its cellulosic fiber characteristics. Reinforcing fibers as a self-healing material can significantly enhance the concrete's self-healing capacity. From raw BPS, fibers are extracted, then it undergoes size reduction, mixed with some chemicals and other substances to produce SHM. One of the primary goals of the modern scientific world is to preserve and protect the ecosystem through the development of a sustainable research environment. Wide availability, low cost, significant endurance, and high specific strength are some of the advantages of natural fibers like the banana pseudostem fiber over synthetic fiber. The synthesis of SHM derived from BPF involves several key processes. First, raw BPS undergoes decortication to extract the fibers, which are then dried in a rotary drum dryer to remove excess unwanted moisture. The dried fibers are ground to a 24 mesh size using a grinder mill and then sieved. The correctly sized BPF particles are then fed or conveyed into a homogenizer mixer, which is the heart equipment of our overall process, where they are combined with metasilicate and hydrochloric acid. This mixture is stirred vigorously to ensure uniformity and control the exothermic reaction. Once the mixture stabilizes, additional BPF particles are added, and continuous stirring is maintained. After mixing, the effluent is drained for neutralization, and the resulting cake is dried, crushed, and packaged as the final SHM product. This is a summary of the banana fiber-based self-healing material or SHM production process. First, Step 1, preparation and drying of BPF. Step 2, size reduction using mechanical crusher. Step 3, mixing process, which is the most crucial process in the overall production process of SHM. Step 4, mixture neutralization, washing, and drying. And lastly, step 5, packaging of the final product. This figure 2.1, shows the overall process flow diagram in the production of self-healing material. So, aside from the mixer, it shows the other important equipment that will be used in the production of high-quality SHM.
Good day, sir. I am Blossom Real Salvo, and I will be presenting the material balances and the sizing parameters or dimensions of our equipment. And the data that we have used here is based on the values from the process description that was given to us, having an input of sodium metasilicate around 156 kilograms, water as the medium for the reaction, around 815 kilograms, HCl 192 kilograms, and an input of banana fibers of 30 kilograms. So from this calculation, we have seen that the limiting reactant is the sodium metasilicate in order to form the silica. So based on those values and assuming a 100% theoretical yield, we can produce around 77 kilograms of precipitated silica, 150 kilograms of NaCl or the salt, 838 kilograms of total water from the reaction and the feed, and the remaining HCl around 98 kilograms. Therefore, we have a total of 1,087 kilograms of the salts and the liquid. The SHM or the self-healing material is composed of the precipitated silica and the banana fibers, and thus we can produce for this reaction around 107 kilograms of SHM. And the total mass within the vessel is around 1,194 kilograms. The average percent yield from the conducted experiments was around 45%, and it is very small because there are a lot of factors that compromise the yield of silica, and that includes the pH from the dropping of the HCl, the agitation of the impeller, and the heat distribution. Thus, basing on 45% yield, we can only have around 48 kilograms of self-healing material. The energy balance calculated revealed an exothermic process, releasing heat around 222 kilojoules, and this is mainly because of the dissociation of the sodium metasilicate. For the vessel dimension, we have based it on 1.2 cubic meters of working volume, proposing that the density of the content of the materials before the reaction proceeds is relatively close to water. And as a rule of thumb, the fluid volume should be around, or the working volume should be around 70 to 75% full. We could use 80% if we wanted to be more liberal. Thus, the vessel capacity is around 1.6 cubic meters. So from these values, we can scale it up if we want to make the equipment bigger for the plant design. To calculate the vessel height and the diameters, we have calculated the volume of the volume of the cylinder and the ellipsoidal bottom head, and we have calculated an inside diameter of 1.13 meters. So for the minimum wall thickness, the cylinder we have from the cylinder we have obtained 0.55 meters, and also for the bottom. Since we want it to be more safe, so we have added 3 millimeters, and that also includes the corrosion allowance if that happens. So we have a minimum wall thickness of 8 millimeters. So using those values, we have obtained an outer diameter value of 1.14 meters and a total height of 1.7. We have also solved for the liquid height, and as a rule of thumb, liquid height must fall between 0.7 to 0.8 ratio of the tank height. The Z value is important to calculate other design parameters for in constructing a mixer equipment. So the Z value should be around, when we conduct the process, should be around 1.35 meters, and the ratio should be around 1.2, and that is a reasonable value already. There are a lot of heuristics for calculating the impeller dimensions, and to avoid confusion, we based it on the information that we have read from the Paris Handbook, in which the suspension of fine solids in non-Newtonian fluids that may exhibit laminar flow shear rates may become low and negligible. Hence, large diameter impellers may be used with a ratio of the impeller diameter, which is the dA, and the tank diameter, dt, should be greater than 0.6, and an impeller diameter should be greater than dt over 2 would be beneficial to avoid dead zones, have short mixing times while maintaining uniformity and laminar continuous averaging of slurries. So using 0.6 value, we have obtained that the impeller diameter is around 0.67 meters. And since most of the impellers being manufactured are in inches, so we have used 27 inches for the impeller diameter. And solving for the impeller position, as a rule of thumb, the CT value should also fall in the 0.1 to 0.4 ratio. And generally, although the impeller position or the clearances, there are a lot of heuristics that could be followed, but generally we have used that the bottom clearance should be 1/3 of the liquid height from the bottom of the vessel. Thus, we have calculated 0.45 meters for the bottom clearance. And so also for the baffles, we have used three baffles, or employed three baffles inside the vessel, and that would be sufficient already. And so as a rule of thumb, the optimal baffle width is 1/12 of the tank diameter, and the gap of the vessel is imposed to prevent accumulation of solids at the baffle corners and easier cleaning. It is recommended to have a gap of 1/72 of the tank, and thus we have obtained these values for the baffles. And when constructing the baffles, it is not very necessary to follow these exact numbers. It should just be played around those values. So for the surface area, we have just substituted the values that was calculated previously, and thus we have a total surface area of 6.49 square meters. And for the mixing vessel cost, using the stainless steel 304L, we have known that it is around 43,000. This costing is relatively small compared to others, but we have to take note that this is just for the vessel alone, and it excludes the material needed for the construction of the steam jacket, which relatively ano would add additional costs, and the equipment itself used for the plant is replicated 3 to 5 times, possibly. So this equipment use is not just one. So, the rheology, or the fluid dynamics of agitating silica precipitation process, is difficult to determine due to the non-Newtonian behavior and the non-linear profile of the fluid. And this reveals that it is very experimental in terms of calculation of the time of agitation, the suspension of fibers, and more. But we are able to calculate the pumping rate, and the power, using a power number of zero point 0.4 and power number of zero point 0.7, which are dependent on the type of impeller being used, and which in this process we have used pitch blade turbine because there are a lot of information that we could get compared to hydrofoils, helicals. So we have solved that the amount of fluid being displaced is around 9,800 GPM, gallons per minute, and the horsepower is around 17.8 horsepower, and the torque using the power that is solved is around 3,739 inches pound.
The production of nanocellulose from banana pseudostem involves several key steps, starting with the pre-processing of the pseudostems through cleaning, cutting, and drying to reduce moisture content and facilitate further processing. Each of these agitator types offers unique advantages for different stages of nanocellulose production, from initial laboratory research to large-scale industrial manufacturing. The most used agitators in the industry are as follows: pitch blade turbines. They ensure uniform distribution of healing agents, create vascular networks for efficient healing agent distribution, and incorporate heating elements to maintain optimal temperature without degrading material properties. However, balancing mixing efficiency with energy consumption remains a challenge in their design optimization. Hydrofoil impellers. Hydrofoil impellers are efficient mixing devices that minimize shear forces, making them ideal for self-healing materials. Their design uses less power, mixes faster, and reduces the risk of material damage. However, they can cause damage if energy dissipation isn't controlled carefully. Then, the helical impellers. Helical impellers are designed to mix thick, high viscosity materials more efficiently. Their unique blade shape creates an upward mixing flow, improving performance and reducing mixing time. However, uses more energy, and other mixing technologies might offer lower energy consumption or simpler designs for certain applications. A trade-off analysis is a crucial step in taking into account which aspects weigh more in design considerations. Choosing the most appropriate design using these parameters would ensure the safety and efficiency of self-healing material production. The most significant parameters were listed in evaluating the most suitable equipment. First, manufacturability. This limitation focuses on the construction of the equipment. Then, economics. The equipment is designed considering the integrity of the impeller, preventing the possibilities of replacement and repair, as this is where the project's financial viability rests. Performance. This is the project's social impact. Then, sustainability. The equipment's viability and long-term operational life cycle. Pitch blade turbines, hydrofoil impellers, and helical impellers are distinct types of mixing devices, each designed for specific applications and flow characteristics. The results from the conducted trade-off analysis shown in Table 1 show that the pitch blade turbines is the most preferred design for the chosen constraints with a weighted score of 4.0. This implies that pitch blade turbine's impeller is the most manufacturable, economical, efficient, and sustainable among the three design options. The process of developing a jacketed stainless steel mixer involves two main stages: selecting suitable materials and evaluating cost ratings. Initially, materials are screened based on their properties and cost, with the best options identified separately. The Pew matrix method is employed for ranking and eliminating options, which is essential for ensuring the equipment meets performance, durability, and industry standards while also achieving cost efficiency. When selecting materials for a jacketed mixer, several constraints must be considered to ensure optimal performance and safety. These constraints include thermal conductivity. High thermal conductivity allows for efficient heat transfer, especially in flowable compositions, fabrication, and machinability. Balancing machinability and fabrication is crucial. Fabrication requires easy-to-shape steel without compromising structural integrity. Corrosion resistance. Mixer design is crucial for durability, with steel containing elements like chromium, aluminum, and silicon. Weight and structural integrity. The design of mixer is crucial for its performance and safety, as it requires careful consideration of steel's weight and structural integrity. Mechanical strength. Mechanical strength is crucial in mixer design, ensuring durability and performance under operational stresses. Table 3.1 shows that the mixer's entire performance is heavily reliant on corrosion resistance with a weighted score of 24.35%. Furthermore, the preceding data show that 304L stainless steel received the highest weighted score of 3.6 among all materials. As a result, 304L stainless steel is better suited for developing a mixer with appropriate material qualities. A cost assessment was conducted to determine the expenses associated with potential materials for mixer design, focusing on factors like density and tensile strength. A structured cost rating equation was used to identify the most suitable material, ensuring a balance between cost and essential properties for effective design. The systematic approach enhances design efficiency, but it acknowledges the potential challenges of material properties varying significantly. The cost rating of various engineering materials are displayed in Table 3.2. 304L stainless steel has the lowest score at 0.00148198. This makes it a cost-effective choice for mixer construction when prioritizing expenses. Furthermore, 317L stainless steel should be taken into consideration in order to satisfy certain equipment material criteria. It costs significantly more than 316L stainless steel, however, it has better qualities and performance for specific applications. The results of the cost rating and material properties test are recalculated for the final screening, taking into account the respective weight percentages in order to determine the optimal material. A final selection procedure is presented in Table 3.3. 304L stainless steel, which had a total score of 83.14, is the most favorable material according to the result. By doing this, minimal design economics is ensured while optimizing the necessary mechanical attributes for optimal durability and performance. 304 stainless steel is a popular choice due to its corrosion resistance, stability at high temperatures, and strong mechanical properties. It is used in marine and pharmaceutical industries, healthcare, and chemical processing. Its performance in harsh environments like nitric acid is critical, and its mechanical properties make it suitable for high-stress applications like oil and gas operations. However, its performance can vary significantly based on environmental conditions and alloy compositions. The shape of mixer vessels significantly influences mixing efficiency and product quality. Various designs cater to specific mixing needs, optimizing flow dynamics and material interaction. Mixer vessels comes in various shapes which designed to optimize mixing efficiency for different applications. Here are the three notable shapes. Cylindrical mixer with dish head bottom. This design features a vertically oriented cylindrical wall that transitions into a shallow round bottom. Translating rotating mixer. This mixer consists of a large circular cylinder filled with fluid stirred by a cylindrical rod that can both translate and rotate. Symmetrical mixing chamber. This design features a symmetrical outer mantle with two end walls and rotating paddles inside. The most commonly used mixer tank shapes mentioned will be analyzed based on the constraints identified. This includes geometric configuration, motion constraints, flow dynamics, experimental boundaries, and energy input requirements. The cylindrical mixer with dish head bottom was found to be the most optimal shape for maximizing the overall productivity of self-healing material mixing process within the specified constraints, as indicated by the calculated findings in Table 3.4.
Figure 4.1 shows the three-dimensional representation of the mixer with its different parts such as the motor, level sensor, steam inlet and outlet, impeller, and so on. Additionally, Figure 4.2 shows a two-dimensional outline of the mixer with its corresponding dimensions. Figure 4.3a offers a clear three-dimensional representation of the mixer, allowing viewers to visualize the various components and their arrangement. It effectively illustrates how different parts interact and fit together, providing a deeper understanding of their functions. In contrast, Figure 4.3b represents the top view of the mixer, showcasing the layout, distances, and placement between the parts. This view highlights the spatial organization and relationships among components, facilitating a better grasp of how they work together in overall design. Figure 4.4 presents a perspective of the mixer's front and side views. These views illustrate the mixer's shapes and the arrangement of its components from different angles. They effectively highlight key features, enhancing overall visibility and providing a more comprehensive understanding of the mixer's design and functionality. In conclusion, the Philippines faces frequent natural disasters, compromising its infrastructures. Concrete, as a widely used construction materials, is prone to cracking, leading to long-term damages. That is why the reinforcement of self-healing materials, or SHM, especially those reinforced with banana pseudostem fiber, offer a sustainable solution to improve concrete durability and reduce environmental impact. The increasing demand for SHM is driven by the need for sustainable construction materials that lower maintenance costs and extend the lifespan of the structures. Effective logistics and supply chain management are essential, especially for ensuring controlled processing conditions to achieve desired SHM properties. The environmental impact of the mixing process is critical in determining the sustainability of SHM, and based on analysis, the 304 stainless steel is the best material for constructing the steam-jacketed agitated mixer with a total score of 83.14. For the mixer design, factors include impeller choice, fluid velocity, and uniform heat distribution. Steam heating is preferred for its cost-effectiveness and safety, preventing agglomeration and maintaining material quality. The mixer can process about 100 or 1,000 kilogram per hour of BPF, producing about 60 bags of SHM per cycle. Monitoring and controlling overheating during mixing is essential to maintain SHM quality. The final product is selected based on cost effectiveness, material properties, and economic viability to meet performance standards. So overall, this approach ensures efficient, high-quality SHM production with a focus on sustainability and cost optimization.